Have you ever thought that managing money is all about math? Spreadsheets, equations, complex calculations. But here's a puzzle: why aren't the world's greatest mathematicians also the world's wealthiest people? Because the most critical financial decisions aren't made with a calculator. They're made at the dinner table, driven by ego, pride, fear, and our own personal histories. Today, we're going to dive deep into the groundbreaking ideas from Morgan Housel's masterpiece, The Psychology of Money. We're going to discover that the highest form of financial success isn't about achieving the highest returns. As Housel's philosophy suggests, it's about being able to sleep soundly at night by avoiding those financial decisions that would ever keep you awake. So, what's the truth? The truth is, every single one of us operates with a unique financial DNA. It's been coded into you by the generation you were born into, the values your parents held, and your personal, one-of-a-kind experiences with money. Someone born in the 1970s who saw stocks soar might think investing is the only way, while someone who grew up during high inflation might be terrified of losing their savings. This is why a financial decision that seems perfectly rational to you might look completely crazy to someone else. And here's the cost: we think we're being logical, but we're actually just rationalizing our own personal story. As Housel says, people do some crazy things with money, but no one is crazy. We're not malfunctioning, we're just trapped in our own perspectives. And that is the root of so many of our financial struggles. So if our own psychology can be our biggest enemy, what's our greatest ally? The answer is surprisingly simple: time. And the magic it performs is called compounding. Forget complex formulas. Compounding is simply about earning returns on your returns. It's a quiet force, a snowball effect that starts small and grows into an avalanche, but only if you give it one thing: decades of runway. There is no better human example of this than Warren Buffett. We all know him as a genius investor. But what we often miss is the most staggering fact: $81.5 billion of his $84.5 billion net worth was earned after he reached his mid-60s. Let that sink in. Imagine an alternate reality. What if Buffett had been like most of us, started investing seriously at age 30, and retired at 60? Even with his phenomenal 22% annual returns, his net worth today would be around $11.9 million. That sounds like a lot, but it's 99.9% less than his actual fortune. The difference wasn't skill, it was the extra years he spent investing as a young man. So here is the second great truth from The Psychology of Money. Buffett's skill is investing, but his secret to success is time. That is the power of compounding. But even if you harness the power of time, there are two forces you can never ignore, two forgotten twins that shape every financial outcome: luck and risk. Consider the story of Bill Gates. In 1968, there were about 300 million high school-aged people in the world. Gates was one of about 300 students who attended a tiny Seattle school called Lakeside. And Lakeside happened to be the only high school in the world at the time that had a computer. The odds of a high school kid having access to a computer back then? Roughly 1 in a million. Gates himself admits, if there had been no Lakeside, there would have been no Microsoft. But there's a tragic side to this story that's rarely told. There was a third member of that high school computer gang, Kent Evans. He was just as intelligent and visionary as Gates and Allen. He could have easily been a founder of Microsoft. But he never got the chance. Before graduating, Kent was killed in a mountaineering accident. The odds of a high school student dying in a mountaineering accident are also about 1 in a million. Do you see? An extremely rare stroke of luck helped create Microsoft. An extremely rare stroke of risk destroyed a potential co-founder. Luck and risk are two sides of the same coin. So when you study an extreme success story, remember that you are never looking at 100% skill. You are looking at skill plus a 1 in a million encounter with luck. And that humility will change how you see success forever. Understanding the forces of time, luck, and risk is great. But how do we turn this wisdom into action? Here are 3 counterintuitive strategies, straight from The Psychology of Money. Strategy number 1, embrace failure, and wait for the tail event. We're taught that success means being right most of the time. The truth is, it's about being wrong most of the time, and then being incredibly right just once or twice. This is called a tail event, where a tiny number of events can account for the majority of outcomes. Take the art dealer Heinz Berggruen. He collected a massive amount of art. Perhaps 99% of the work he acquired in his life turned out to be of little value. But it didn't matter. Because the other 1% turned out to be the work of someone like Picasso. That 1% made his entire fortune. It's the same in business. Amazon's incredible growth was largely driven by just two tail events, Amazon Prime and Amazon Web Services. These two successes more than paid for all the spectacular failures, like the Fire phone. Jeff Bezos once said after that failure, "We're working on much bigger failures right now. Some of these are going to make the Fire phone look like a tiny little blip." He understood. So, the practical advice is this: in your investments, in your career, accept that most of your efforts will be average, or will fail. The key is to survive long enough and keep trying, so you have a chance to catch that one tail event that changes everything. Strategy number 2, redefine wealth. Because true wealth is the money you don't spend. Here's the difference: being rich is your current income, it's a $100,000 car. Being wealthy is what you haven't spent, it's the financial assets in the bank that grant you freedom. We are obsessed with the visible signs of being rich, but true power lies in the unseen wealth. And this brings us to our third great truth. The highest dividend that money can pay you is control over your own time. It's the ability to wake up one morning and say, "I can do whatever I want today." So, stop trying to use money to show people how much you have. Start using it to buy back your time. Every dollar you save instead of spend is a vote for your future freedom. And that leads to our final, and perhaps most powerful strategy: learn to pay the price, not a fine. When the stock market crashes, what do you feel? Panic? Regret? Like you're being punished for a mistake? That's a fine mentality. But market volatility and uncertainty isn't a fine. It's the price of admission you have to pay for the chance of earning higher returns over the long run. Think of it like climbing a mountain to get an amazing view. You know there will be risk, you might get lost, you might get tired. You accept that this difficulty is simply the price of the view. No one expects a golden escalator to the peak. Why do we expect one from the market? So, the next time the market drops, try to train your mindset. Shift it from, "I'm losing money, I'm being fined," to, "Okay, this is the fee. I'm paying the price for a future reward." Viewing volatility as a fee you're willing to pay, rather than a fine you're forced to endure, is what will allow you to stay in the game long enough to win. So, as we've seen, building wealth is not an external race. It's an internal practice. It's a game of patience, humility, self-control, and above all, emotional resilience. True wealth is not what you show to the world, it's the riches you don't see. It's the car you didn't buy, the first-class upgrade you declined. It's the money that you didn't spend, now working quietly in the background, compounding into one thing, your future freedom. But there is one final trap: the hedonic treadmill. The goalpost that keeps moving. Look at men like Bernie Madoff, who already had everything, but it was never enough. The pursuit of more, without a sense of enough, is a game you can never win. The most important financial skill is learning to stop the goalposts from moving. To find that platform called enough and be happy there. That is true financial freedom. You don't need to be a genius to win this game. You just need to change the way you see money. This is a psychological game, and it's one that every single one of us has a chance to win. Now I want to hear from you. In your own financial journey, what was the aha moment or story that completely changed how you view money? Share your epiphany moment in the comments below. And if you want to gain more wisdom about wealth and life, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Let's master this psychological game together.